Jake Morrison wiped quantum lubricant from his hands with a rag that had achieved legendary status among frontier mechanics for its ability to clean anything, while somehow getting progressively dirtier itself. Frontier Dock Station 12 hummed around him with the constant activity of civilian vessels that had seen better decades, creating an atmosphere where creative mechanical solutions weren't just recommended, but essential for survival in a sector where proper spare parts were theoretical concepts. The dock served as a way station for travelers, traders, and refugees moving through the contested border zone between human space and the vast Zephyrian Empire. Its facilities cobbled together from salvaged components and the kind of optimistic engineering that kept things running until they catastrophically didn't. Jake's workshop occupied a converted cargo bay where he performed daily miracles of mechanical resurrection on ships that most certified technicians would classify as expensive scrap metal, with delusions of functionality. His reputation for impossible repairs had spread through the frontier community like gossip in a small town, attracting customers who'd been turned away by every other mechanic between here and the core systems. The frontier attracted people running from something or running toward something better, creating a community of misfits who'd learned that asking too many questions about passengers' backgrounds was bad for business and potentially dangerous for health. The heavily damaged ship that limped into his bay trailing smoke and sparks looked like another routine emergency repair job. The kind of desperate mechanical situation that paid well if he could restore basic functionality before whatever was chasing the vessel caught up with it. His diagnostic equipment screamed warnings about quantum core instability, while radiation detectors clicked with the nervous energy of instruments detecting things they weren't quite designed to measure. The vessel's sleek design suggested Zephyrian origin, though its identifying markers had been deliberately obscured through methods that required either professional expertise or desperate creativity. Its passenger remained cloaked and silent in ways that indicated either extreme shyness or the kind of careful anonymity that came with having powerful enemies who possessed advanced tracking technology. Jake's initial scans revealed catastrophic damage to the ship's quantum core that should have left the vessel completely inoperative. Yet somehow it had managed to reach the dock through what could only be described as impossible piloting, combined with engineering systems that exceeded anything in his technical manuals. The quantum containment field fluctuated with patterns that suggested the core was held together by willpower and luck rather than proper engineering. "This shouldn't be running," he muttered to the empty bay, while his equipment provided helpful suggestions about immediate evacuation and calling for hazardous materials specialists who probably didn't exist within 3-star systems. The quantum matrix is held together with what appears to be prayer and sheer stubbornness. The repair work became a meditation on the elegant complexity of Zephyrian technology, which seemed designed by people who viewed mechanical engineering as a form of art rather than mere functionality. Their systems worked in harmony rather than simple cause-and-effect relationships, creating technological poetry that his human training struggled to appreciate while somehow managing to repair through intuitive understanding. His cloaked passenger observed from the ship's lounge area with the stillness of someone accustomed to remaining invisible while others worked around them. The figure's posture suggested exhaustion mixed with vigilant awareness, the combination of someone who'd been traveling under dangerous conditions while maintaining constant alertness for threats that could appear without warning. Jake worked through the night to restore critical systems, his hands guided by decades of experience with impossible repairs and the kind of mechanical intuition that couldn't be taught in any certification program. The quantum core responded to his ministrations like a patient recovering from serious illness, slowly stabilizing as he coaxed damaged components back to functional harmony. "There we go," he said to the humming machinery, as quantum fields achieved stable resonance for the first time since the ship had arrived. "Not pretty, but she'll hold together long enough to get you wherever you're going safely. The cloaked passenger approached with fluid movement that suggested either advanced physical training or species-specific grace that human movement couldn't quite replicate. Her voice carried musical undertones when she spoke, though exhaustion couldn't quite mask what sounded like relief mixed with something approaching gratitude. "Your work exceeds expectation," she said quietly. "The repair appears more comprehensive than emergency restoration. You have restored full functionality to systems that should require specialized Imperial facilities." Jake shrugged with the casual dismissal of someone who performed miracles daily, without considering them particularly miraculous. "Quantum cores are temperamental, but they respond well to patience and proper calibration. Your ship's got good bones, just needed someone to show her damaged systems a little mechanical respect." His tablet chimed softly with notifications that suggested the ship's systems had registered the completed repairs through protocols he didn't recognize. While somewhere in the depths of Zephyrian governmental machinery, ancient ceremonial programs activated with the quiet efficiency of technology that had been waiting decades for someone to accidentally trigger its primary function. The universe Jake was about to discover had very specific ideas about how skilled service should be rewarded, especially when performed without knowledge of just how significant the recipient truly was. "The restoration is complete," Jake announced, running final diagnostics on systems that now hummed with the satisfied efficiency of machinery that had been properly loved back to health. "Quantum core stability is optimal, navigation systems are fully functional, and life support should keep you comfortable for months." The ship's ceremonial protocols, installed by Imperial engineers who believed in honoring those who served without expectation of reward, erupted in digital celebration as ancient Imperial rites of gratitude activated with enthusiasm that seemed wildly inappropriate for routine mechanical work performed in a frontier repair bay. "You have exceeded the requirements of simple service," his passenger said with formal precision that transformed casual conversation into something approaching cosmic significance. "The Imperial rite of gratitude has been properly initiated through your skilled restoration of systems critical to life preservation." Jake's tablet transformed into a cascade of notifications announcing that he just gained Imperial audience rights and command chain integration, with access levels that definitely hadn't been covered in Frontier Mechanic certification. His security clearance expanded to include databases he'd never heard of, while governmental authority began routing through connections he didn't understand. "Imperial what now?" Jake asked, his mechanical training failing to provide protocols for accidentally becoming integrated into alien governmental systems through competent repair work. Through their suddenly established bond, information flowed like diagnostic data equalizing between connected systems. Jake gained access to Imperial logistics databases revealing systematic corruption in border territory management, while his passenger, who he was beginning to suspect might be more important than a typical civilian traveler, discovered human technical records showing coordinated sabotage of civilian vessels. "The border zone chaos," she explained as data streamed across their shared awareness, "is not due to legitimate territorial disputes. Administrator Chen has been coordinating with our Minister Kexrin to maintain what they term optimal breakdown protocols for maximum emergency service profitability." Financial records painted a picture of systematic exploitation that treated civilian travelers as renewable resources for emergency repair contracts. Ships were deliberately sabotaged to create crisis situations, while navigation systems were compromised to force vessels into specific repair facilities controlled by the conspiracy. Even basic maintenance supplies were controlled through artificial scarcities that generated dependency on expensive emergency services. Through their bond, Jake experienced something beyond simple information sharing, a consciousness that carried the weight of imperial authority combined with personal exhaustion that came from investigating corruption while traveling incognito. His passenger's mental presence felt vast and complex, suggesting someone accustomed to governmental responsibility on scales he couldn't quite comprehend. "Your Majesty," Jake said quietly, pieces clicking together with the precision of properly aligned quantum components. "You're not just a passenger, are you?" Empress Serafina Velter allowed her cloaking field to dissipate, revealing crystalline skin that seemed to contain starlight and elongated ears that tracked sounds throughout the dock with predatory precision. Her expression carried the weight of someone who'd been investigating systematic betrayal, while disguised as exactly the kind of civilian victim the conspiracy targeted. "The incognito investigation revealed evidence of the conspiracy before my ship was sabotaged by those I came to expose," she explained through their connection. "Your repair work provided not just mechanical restoration, but literal life preservation that prevented assassination and preserved evidence needed to expose systematic corruption. The imperial rite created mental intimacy that made sharing thoughts feel as natural as calibrating connected systems, though Jake's human tendency toward practical problem-solving seemed to fascinate someone whose imperial education had focused on governmental theory rather than hands-on technical work. Minister Kexran's infrastructure company, Jake realized through their shared investigation, operates on renewable breakdown principles. His contracts depend on continued mechanical failures because completed repairs would eliminate ongoing revenue streams and reduce demand for emergency services. Evidence accumulated revealing that civilian transportation problems had been carefully orchestrated to maximize profits for emergency service providers. Border zone instability wasn't accidental territorial conflict, but calculated business opportunity, with both species' civilian safety sacrificed for contractor profits that measured success in quarterly revenue reports rather than lives protected. Administrator Chen's Emergency Repair Corporation, Serafina observed through their connection, coordinates with Zephyrian infrastructure companies to create artificial crisis cycles. Ship breakdowns generate repair contracts, while navigation failures justify expensive emergency routing services. The dock's activity continued around them with mechanical precision that couldn't quite mask underlying surveillance from multiple interested parties. Both human security personnel and what Jake now realized were probably Imperial guards in civilian clothing had begun subtle repositioning that suggested preparation for operations they hoped to complete before their investigation could threaten profitable arrangements. "The Imperial right protection," Serafina explained quietly, "creates ceremonial immunity that prevents direct action against us while we investigate. Ancient Zephyrian law recognizes service bonds as creating sacred obligation to protect those who demonstrate skill and honor without expectation of reward." Their shared awareness revealed suspicious coordination between human emergency contractors and Zephyrian logistics companies, all carefully structured to benefit from continued civilian transportation problems. Ship failures weren't random mechanical breakdowns, but calculated profit optimization, with traveler safety measured against quarterly earnings rather than basic governmental responsibility to protect citizens. Jake's achievement notifications had progressed to Level 1, accidentally bonded to Alien Empress, with helpful cultural notes about imperial gratitude customs that included formal recognition ceremonies and permanent integration into imperial protection systems that made human customer service warranties seem remarkably limited by comparison. External surveillance increased as their investigation attracted attention from conspiracy beneficiaries, who seemed remarkably well-informed about activities in supposedly neutral frontier territory. Both human and Zephyrian forces began positioning themselves with movements that suggested coordinated planning between supposed territorial competitors. The imperial deadline, Serafina noted with growing urgency, approaches rapidly through channels you cannot detect. If my identity becomes public knowledge before we complete our investigation, forces move to eliminate evidence and witnesses who threaten profitable chaos. The weight of cosmic decision settled around them like gravity remembering its responsibilities, while thousands of civilian travelers remained vulnerable to systematic sabotage, disguised as random mechanical failures. The Imperial Rights Consciousness Integration protocols transformed Jake and Empress Serafina's mental connection into something resembling a two-person intelligence agency specializing in mechanical conspiracies, complete with shared awareness that made processing corruption data feel like collaborative engineering between someone who understood how things worked and someone who understood how power structures were supposed to protect people, but didn't. Their combined consciousness flowed like synchronized diagnostic systems, allowing them to examine evidence with human technical precision and imperial authority. Administrator Chen's emergency repair protocols, Serafina observed through their link, demonstrate remarkable creativity in failure engineering. I'm reviewing maintenance schedules that claim safety improvements, while actually documenting sabotage procedures, designed to create breakdowns requiring premium emergency intervention services. Jake felt their awareness merging in ways that made distinguishing between his thoughts and hers an increasingly academic exercise. The evidence revealed systematic coordination that extended far beyond simple profiteering. Civilian vessels had been deliberately compromised through software updates that introduced instabilities. Navigation systems had been altered to create routing problems that forced ships into specific repair facilities. And even basic maintenance supplies had been controlled through artificial scarcities that generated dependency on expensive emergency services. Through Serafina's imperial access, Jake discovered hidden communication networks revealing that civilian transportation safety had been systematically compromised whenever independent travel threatened to eliminate justification for emergency interventions. The mechanical crisis was an accidental equipment failure, but carefully maintained business opportunity, with both species' civilian welfare sacrificed for contractor profits. Minister Kexran's infrastructure contracts, Jake realized through their shared investigation, operate on manufactured breakdown principles. His company creates mechanical problems through deliberate sabotage, then charges premium rates for emergency solutions to crises they systematically caused. The danger escalated as their investigation attracted attention from multiple conspiracy beneficiaries. Human security forces had begun subtle repositioning around dock facilities, while what Jake now recognized as Imperial guards in civilian clothing moved with careful precision that suggested preparation for operations designed to eliminate inconvenient witnesses before Imperial oversight could threaten profitable status quo arrangements. Their cultural exchange continued as they navigated the intimate requirements of shared Imperial consciousness during conspiracy investigation. Jake discovered that Zephyrian problem-solving involved hierarchical analysis that his human mechanical instincts seemed to disrupt, while Serafina learned that human engineering approaches operated through systematic testing that identified problems her Imperial training would approach through diplomatic channels that somehow never quite resolved underlying technical issues. Your thought patterns, she noted with scientific fascination, create solution pathways that ignore traditional authority structures but somehow reach effective mechanical conclusions. The cognitive approach suggests your species developed technical intelligence through direct interaction with malfunctioning systems rather than theoretical policy frameworks designed to prevent problems. Through their bond, Jake experienced imperial political processing that made human bureaucracy seem like crude approximations of more sophisticated governmental instruments. Serafina discovered that human practical thinking operated through pattern recognition, that identified systematic failures her imperial education would classify as separate administrative issues, requiring different departments to handle individually. The conspiracy evidence revealed coordination that reached beyond simple profit motive into deliberate safety manipulation, designed to maintain what Chen and Kexrin called sustainable crisis management. Transportation protocols had been designed to fail just enough to justify ongoing intervention contracts, while success rates remained high enough to prevent complete system replacement that would eliminate revenue streams generated by artificial problems. The deliberate sabotage, Serafina explained through their connection, wasn't accidental mechanical failure. Civilian vessel systems were coordinated to create breakdowns that increased emergency response time while generating revenue for repair services, navigation assistance, and extended safety inspection contracts that somehow never quite prevented future failures. External surveillance increased as both human and imperial forces prepared for deadline operations. Through their shared awareness, they tracked movement patterns that suggested coordinated planning between supposed territorial competitors, proving the conspiracy reached operational levels of both civilian security services that were supposed to protect travelers. The dock's civilian activity proceeded around them with mechanical efficiency that couldn't quite mask systematic sabotage designed to maintain profitable mechanical unreliability. Repair processing had been complicated unnecessarily. Safety inspection requirements had been multiplied beyond practical necessity, and parts distribution had been controlled in ways that created shortages rather than ensuring adequate maintenance supplies for independent operators. The imperial right protection, Serafina explained quietly, creates ceremonial immunity that prevents direct action against us while we investigate. But revealing my identity will either legitimize our evidence or make us targets for elimination, depending on whether forces protecting profitable chaos can silence witnesses before truth spreads beyond their control. Jake's achievement system had reached Level 3, inadvertent imperial revolutionary, while offering helpful suggestions about imperial recognition ceremonies that apparently involved public testimony and something called consort witness integration that sounded either deeply significant or like expensive governmental relationship counseling. Through their investigation, they'd uncovered evidence that civilian transportation safety had been deliberately compromised to generate ongoing revenue for emergency service providers, while sustainable repair solutions had been blocked through regulatory requirements that served no purpose except maintaining profitable mechanical unreliability. I should mention, Jake admitted through their connection, that accidentally bonding with alien empresses during routine repairs wasn't covered in mechanical training. My preparation focused more on fixing broken systems and troubleshooting technical problems, not on exposing interstellar safety conspiracies through imperial gratitude ceremonies. Her mental laughter rippled through their shared consciousness like harmonic resonance in perfectly tuned quantum fields. Imperial education includes extensive coverage of gratitude rite traditions, but mostly as ceremonial procedures for planned political recognition. No one expected them to activate through genuine human skill, expressed during mechanical crisis, involving incognito imperial travel. The imperial deadline announcement echoed through secret channels, while civilian travelers continued using transportation systems that had been deliberately compromised for profit. And Jake and Serafina faced the choice that would determine whether their accidental service bond could expose corruption that had turned civilian safety into systematic exploitation, or whether profitable chaos would continue, while honest travelers remained vulnerable to manufactured mechanical failures. The imperial communication deadline approached with the weight of mechanical destiny, painting the dock facilities in emergency lighting that Jake's exhausted consciousness could only describe as the official color of systematic safety sabotage, reaching its moment of engineering truth. His caffeine withdrawal had achieved transcendental dimensions, manifesting as what felt like his neurons conducting a technical symposium about the cosmic significance of accidentally bonding with alien empresses through competent repair work performed without asking for proper identification. Your species' stimulant dependencies, Empress Seraphina observed through their bond, her mental voice carrying what had become familiar affection mixed with imperial curiosity, create fascinating technical resonance patterns. I'm experiencing sympathetic cravings for something you call emergency repair fuel, which sounds either deeply practical or mildly hazardous for long-term cognitive function. The morning ceremony convened in the dock's central assembly area, where representatives from both governments gathered with expressions suggesting they were witnessing either revolutionary safety breakthrough or spectacular interspecies mechanical disaster. Jake's tablet had evolved beyond simple device into what could only be described as a digital consciousness, dedicated to exposing transportation corruption with the enthusiasm of artificial intelligence that had discovered technical justice. Administrator Chen rose with theatrical precision that suggested considerable preparation for this exact confrontation. Esteemed colleagues, we must address the concerning situation involving Mechanic Morrison, who appears to have fallen victim to sophisticated Zephyrian manipulation techniques disguised as traditional imperial gratitude ceremonies. Alternatively, Empress Seraphina interjected with imperial ruthlessness that made aristocratic destruction look like performance art. We address systematic conspiracy between human emergency contractors and Zephyrian infrastructure officials to maintain profitable civilian transportation sabotage through coordinated safety obstruction and deliberate mechanical exploitation. The evidence cascaded across the Assembly's display systems like digital mechanical revelation, overwhelming damage control efforts with sheer volume of undeniable proof. Financial records revealed Chen's repair company receiving payments coordinated with Kexran's Infrastructure Corporation, all carefully timed around civilian vessel breakdowns that maximized emergency service contracts while preventing sustainable transportation safety that would eliminate ongoing revenue streams. The mechanical failures, Jake explained to the increasingly pale-faced assembly, were artificially maintained through coordinated sabotage and system compromises. Civilian vessels weren't failing due to normal wear, but profit optimization algorithms designed to extend emergency service contracts, while preventing reliable transportation that would reduce dependency on expensive repair interventions. Communication logs showed suspicious coordination between supposed safety competitors, revealing that transportation protocols had been deliberately designed to fail at precisely the rate that justified ongoing intervention contracts without triggering complete system replacement. Technical documentation proved that artificial problems had been created through systematic software corruption, generating crisis situations that required expensive emergency repairs instead of sustainable civilian transportation systems. Minister Kexran's supporters launched their prepared counterattack, claiming human mechanical manipulation had compromised the Empress through species-specific technical warfare techniques designed to exploit imperial gratitude traditions for safety advantage. Their arguments evaporated like morning mist when evidence revealed Kexran's personal financial stakes in continued transportation instability, with infrastructure contracts that somehow never quite completed their safety improvement projects, requiring endless additional funding cycles that coincidentally aligned with civilian vessel breakdowns. The assassination attempt unfolded exactly as their shared awareness had predicted, with explosives targeting civilian areas, while both human extremists and Zephyrian separatists blamed each other for coordinated attacks designed to restart transportation hostilities and justify abandoning civilian protection protocols entirely. Jake and Seraphina's mental connection allowed them to anticipate and expose the false flag operation in real time, broadcasting intercepted communications that proved both attacks originated from the same conspiracy designed to eliminate neutral frontier zones. Distinguished delegates, Empress Seraphina announced with crystalline authority that made the assembly area feel like the safety center of the universe. I invoke the right of imperial protection under service right law. The evidence we present will be broadcast simultaneously to all government databases, civilian advocacy networks, and public safety information systems across both civilizations. The moment of cosmic choice arrived with gravitational weight that seemed to bend space around their decision. Seraphina could shield Jake as her consort witness, permanently binding their lives together while exposing the conspiracy that had caused immeasurable civilian suffering. Or she could allow him to be silenced while preserving fragile peace treaties that enabled continued systematic exploitation disguised as legitimate transportation policy. "Jake Morrison," she said, her voice carrying across the assembly with absolute certainty, "your skilled service to preserve life represents the finest qualities of honest technical work. I choose to honor that integrity with permanent protection and commitment to transportation justice." "I accept the imperial protection," Jake replied, understanding that performing competent repair work had transformed him from a frontier mechanic trying to keep ships functional into someone willing to challenge the institutional corruption that deliberately sabotaged those ships for profit. "Let the evidence reach everyone who needs safe transportation." The quantum broadcast engaged with harmonic resonance that felt like the universe taking a collective sigh of mechanical relief. Their compiled evidence streamed simultaneously to every accessible database, overwhelming conspiracy damage control with the volume of undeniable documentation. The systematic exploitation died in real time as truth spread faster than any safety spin could contain. Transportation routes opened within hours as artificial barriers dissolved under public scrutiny. Civilian vessels were repaired as breakdown protocols evaporated once their profit motive disappeared. Navigation systems that had been mysteriously unreliable for months suddenly discovered efficient routing when emergency pricing structures collapsed under transparency requirements. Jake's achievement system reached mission complete, accidentally revolutionized interstellar transportation safety, while offering congratulations on most mechanically significant service bond in recorded history. The universe's sense of technical justice, he realized, sometimes